Yeah, it's working now.
Okay, so we are live.
Uh, it looks like
Amazing.
about 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
It is, but I got a notice on my link from the web
Yeah, it's working now.
being recorded or
Oh,
sent to a.
we are live.
We're live. It looks like about 5 seconds. Yeah, we're live.
Sounds like we're live, so I'm hearing myself feeding back through there. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Catalyze SV's November 20th Project Advocacy Committee meeting. My name is Jake, and I will be taking us through tonight's process and tonight's project, which is the Pleasant Hills Golf Course, the Pleasant Hills site. It's been in the news lately. Some of you might have been involved in the guiding principles process. And we have a proposal to look at this evening. For Catalyze SV, I know this time last year, uh, Sharia, who had this position before me, was looking at just the outline of what Pleasant Hills would become. And we didn't have a proposal yet, and we were just gauging uh, member discussion around like what we would want to see at the Pleasant Hills Golf Course. And well, now we have something. So first, I think we should do a round of introductions and everyone can say a bit about themselves. And then I guess we'll get into the presentation for Pleasant Hills. I'll be handling that tonight. The developer could not be here to join us. So, Alex, do you want to go first? Introduce yourself.
Sure. Hey, I'm Alex, ED of Catalyze SV. I'll kick it over to Sandana.
Hi, I'm Sandana. I'm a member of the Project Advocacy Committee and the SEAL team, and I'm a freshman at San Jose State studying geography and environmental restoration. I'll pass it on to Carlin.
Okay. Uh, yeah, I'm unmuted. Okay. Why am I not showing up on the?
We can see and hear you, Carlin.
I can
So
hear
Okay, we're good. Then Carlin Block. I live in West San Jose, and I've been on doing project advocacy since the beginning of Catalyze SV, and it's sometimes very gratifying to see a lot of the things that we're telling people to do that they change. So that's the good news. The bad news is my heater is off downstairs, so if I put on a hoodie,
darn. The
I,
like one cold day in San Jose in the last
yeah,
year.
well,
you.
the
Carlin was
Friday.
honored as one of our volunteers of the year, so congratulations, Carlin.
Thank you.
We missed you last week, but congrats. Sandana was our winner of Volunteer of the Year. Forgot to mention that. Thanks, Sandana. Congrats. Let's go to Kyle if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and I'm a master's student at San Jose State with with the urban planning program. And actually, either last semester or 2 semesters ago, I was in a class with Jeffrey Hare where we were tasked with creating a staff report for this project actually. So I just thought I'd attend.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Kyle. Kyle reached out to me and let me see that information, and he might have some insight to share with us this evening as well. So thanks for being here. And Chris, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Chris. I've been with Catalyze SV since March of this year. Really into both real estate and also kind of the social science side of cities and how do we, get affordable housing and best methods to do it, how to work with, the corporate interests along with kind of the interests of getting people's, immediate needs met. So, that's in large part why I've gotten involved with SV, Catalyze SV, and yeah, I've been on this CSV committee, I think, since the summer. Barely keep tracks, just been kind of long reel, but yeah, this has probably been on since like June, July. So yeah.
Thanks for being here, Chris. And then Casey, I don't know if you're able to introduce
Yeah.
yourself right now. Oh,
Sure.
go ahead.
I'm Casey, and I have been involved in the Project Advocacy Committee for about a year and a half. Spent my 30+ year career doing residential architecture and construction, focused on single family homes, and with a expertise and passion in sustainability, and also affordable housing and smart growth. So all of these areas are great alignment with what Catalyze SV is doing, and I love supporting the work.
Good to have you here. If you like working on single family homes, then maybe you'll have some insight to share with us on this project tonight. Yeah, so before we get into it, I do just want to give one little update here, which is Mission Point, a project in Santa Clara, in the city of Santa Clara, that Catalyze SV has been involved in for a while now, was approved just last night at a Santa Clara City Council meeting. So that was approved with a version of, I think it was 2,800 units. So there you go, there's some housing. And then Pleasant Hills. If you don't know where the site is, it's a site in East San Jose. It's a unincorporated pocket, though, of Santa Clara County. So it's this pocket of Santa Clara County, surrounded on all sides by San Jose. It's next to Lake Cunningham. You have the Reed Hillview Airport over there, East Ridge Mall. Pretty busy area, a lot going on. And then just some background on the site. The golf course that has been closed now for some time, operated from 1960 to 2004, so closed for around 20 years now. The site has been pretty much empty since. It has not had any other use. It was used for a brief period for grazing some animals during for a time. It was previously under this development policy called the Evergreen East Hills Development Policy, which due to traffic concerns sort of limited the development in this part of San Jose to projects that were, you couldn't have more than 35 units to a site. And you had to meet some very abstract and complicated criteria to be able to reach that number even. And then just in 2022, the current applicant of the proposal for the Pleasant Hills submitted a amendment to the general plan asking to designate this space as mixed-use neighborhood and mixed-use commercial from its current designation of private recreation and open space. And then just this year, the city of San Jose did their own outreach on this site to formulate what they called the Pleasant Hills Guiding Principles. And this process took place all during this year. There was a series of meetings, and the purpose of this document was to go out into the community, get feedback from residents, and then make a document on the city's end that basically was a collection of principles to guide the vision for Pleasant Hills. So this is the community's vision for this site. This is what they wanted to see. They got information on all sorts of different things: density, the affordable housing component, parks, transportation. And this was done over the course of 2 rounds of workshops. And then the guiding principles went through the Planning Commission and City Council, and they will be used in some manner to assess whatever that final proposal, the city, when that comes to hearing, when the project comes to hearing at the City Council, they will be using this document as some sort of criteria by which to assess the project. And that gets us into the proposal for this site. So there's a map of the land uses over there on the right. And the site in total is 113.5 acres. The developer is proposing 1,716 units. 342 of those are affordable. There's a teeny little mixed use component, and it also comes with these 3 new public parks. One of these is a linear park running the length of White Road along Lake Cunningham there. Here's the breakdown of those units. We do not have information on sort of the bedroom counts for these for the multifamily housing. But as of now, there are 359 single-family dwellings that will be on the site, 655 townhomes, what they called stacked flats. They also called these clustered townhomes, 360 of those, and then 342 mixed-use multifamily units. Those are, if you're looking at the map here, the purple structure labeled with a 3 in the lower portion of the site there on the corner of Tully and White Road. And in total, that's 1,716 units. This is just a breakdown that we can come back to later if anyone has more in-depth questions about where those are throughout the site. It basically breaks all of that down. And then the project's early in the design process, so they don't even have any sort of renderings for this project yet submitted to the county or the city. But they did include these wonderful photos for references of what it might look like. So this was their reference for single family homes. And then of course, the reference for townhomes on this site. And the reference for the stacked flats or clustered townhomes as they called them. So a familiar site in San Jose. And then this was their sort of inspiration board for what that mixed use multifamily component will look like. So again, very familiar for those of you who've seen a mixed use project in San Jose. In terms of affordability, the projects as it is currently submitted to the county is 20% affordable. So 342 of those units are affordable rentals, while the remaining 1,374 units are market rate for sale units. And then you can see the breakdown there in that table of the income, the household incomes for those units. So 228 for very low income, and then 114 for low income households. The commercial mixed use component will have up to 50,000 square feet of neighborhood serving retail. In their little proposal, they list things like restaurants, coffee shops, grocers, offices, medical uses, higher education, and community gathering spaces as all what they envision for this neighborhood serving retail component. And then here's a breakdown of the parks. 13.3 acres of public parks, new public parks with this. While it is currently under the general plan designation, the site as it is existing now of this public open space and recreation, it's not currently used for that. So these would be 3 public parks here. The one linear park on the Lake Cunningham side of things, and then these 2 more central plaza parks. There's a paseo splitting the 2 mixed-use multifamily buildings that also sort of integrates into a park space. It's one of many of these pedestrian pathways that they've outlined that will connect people and take them throughout the site. So there's ways to walk around it in sort of a park instead of just walking along the sidewalk there. And as far as things go, that is all the information that we have on this project right now. That is what the developer has submitted to the county. And there is some process that we're aware of where they've submitted this project both to the county and the city at this time. And it's important to note that the city has already done a lot of outreach and engagement on this site on the city of San Jose's own part of going out and drafting the guiding principles for the site. So a significant amount of work there on the city's behalf, and hopefully the developer will continue to provide further details to the city and see how those line up with the city's current expectations for the site. I'm good to go ahead and take any questions you all might have about this site. There's maybe a couple of details that I didn't include in these slides, but it captures almost everything. And if
So,
you'd like,
what
we
is
could.
the
Oh,
number of like multifamily, like single family homes and like townhomes and like mixed use? Like, what is the exact number again?
yeah. So single family, standalone single family dwellings, that was 359. I can actually bring up the plan slate here. Um, It has this breakdown over here on the right, but I went through and did the math, and so I think it's a much better summary here of like the exact type of typology of house that you're seeing here. So we have the 359 single family homes. That answers your question, Sadhana, and then I can leave this up as well if you'd like to take a look at it and see the breakdown of where all these units are and the types of housing here. The overall gross density of the site is 21.9 dwelling units an acre. So I'd say that's on the lower side of infill projects that we look at here.
You said 21.9, Jay?
21.9, yes.
What's the math on that? Can you tell me?
That's the dwelling units per acre here on their residential unit allocation. So we have, let me move
I
the
thought we
window
had
of
72.9 acres for residential on the other slide. Is that not right?
So that previous slide says 72.9 acres of residential. We have over here from their own summary again, residential is 73.4. And then their gross density breakdown is 21.9 dwelling units an acre.
It seems like it's a little higher than that, but anyway, okay. Is this little spreadsheet the one that they provided?
Yes, this is what they had submitted to the county, and this is what I was able to get from them.
And I thought it was lower, Casey. I thought it was 15 to 17.
Hmm. Okay.
I could do some reverse math maybe and see if they're doing it with the total site acreage, the 113.5 acres, or if they're just doing that of the residential space.
Oh, wait, so
Yeah,
this is like surrounded by single family home neighborhoods. So like does that mean that like the outer part will be like lesser density compared to like the inner part of the project?
Yeah, so
Okay.
kind of that's how they've laid out the housing
Okay.
products here, the typologies. The yellow that you can see all along the edge of the site interfacing the existing
Mm-hmm.
single family homes, those are all the single family dwellings. So
Okay.
all of those sites, and then this if you can see my mouse, site 12 right here is also a single family dwelling. It's that yellow color.
I see.
I think if you take the overall acreage, 113, and you divide by those units, Alex, you do get like 15 units an acre. However, I think you do have to account for parks, roads, mixed use. So then looking at just the residential development acreage,
Mhm.
dividing that by the units is how I would look at it. And even then, even if it comes in at say 21 to 23 units per acre, um, I do think it would be great to see more density on that acreage. So I guess that's where I would start with my feedback. They have a pretty high percentage of single family homes. And you all know that the Bay Area in general and San Jose also has to create more housing. So I think it's a great development. I like the idea of it, but I guess my biggest feedback would be around, can we get more density in the residential development, maybe fewer single family homes as well. So how do we give feedback on this, given this point of the development, we have such little more information about it?
Well,
I would like to add that the developer did not now and when I made my report they have not found a way to reduce the VMT, that the amount of cars that the site would create. They have not considered any alternative option.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the viable options is VTA has their express bus service that's used by corporations currently, but most likely it can be used by the developer to ferry people to and from Eastridge and whatever site is voted.
Thank you for that little bit of information, Kyle. I need to quickly transfer my room here at the library to one that I'm allowed to be in. So I'll be walking for a second here. I can try to answer
And just,
any other questions while I'm
Yeah,
moving.
Jake, do you actually have access to the guiding principles report?
Yes, you can look it up as well right now. If you can pull up Google, and it's the Pleasant Hills Guiding Principles, and you can look over them there. I can recap some of the things that are discussed in the Guiding Hills Principles in just a second.
I've got the link to Jake. Jake, I've got the link here. I'm just going to put it in the chat function.
Oh,
Because I assume that they're working with that, and it sounds like they did a lot of research or outreach to the community. And I would guess that the type of development and the density is reflected from that report. Is that accurate?
Yes, I can't say, or I can't say which came first. This proposal, I believe, has been around in this form for a while now, before the guiding principles were finalized and finished. But one of the guiding principles in terms of density, what they were looking for from the residential component was a lower densities. The guiding principles, like the density preference from the guiding principles, was brought about by rankings of different types of housing during the community engagement process. So I believe it was some number like 73 attendees ranked single family homes as their number one priority, whereas high density housing was ranked by like 7 folks as a preference to include. The exact question was to include, exclude, or you're okay with it either way. So like that Likert scale of include this, exclude this, okay either way. And it was only 7 chose to include the high density housing, 73 single family homes.
So it was
Other
80,
things-
80 people altogether. Where did those 80 people come from?
That is
Or maybe it was more, but
a great question. It was more. I don't know why the rankings break down differently for the different types of housing. That was just for those specific ones. But they came from the surrounding community mostly. It was noticed around the neighborhood. The city directed outreach group. The city had the consultant Placeworks handling this process for them. And they also had outreach with 2 other organizations to draw in from the Hispanic and Vietnamese communities. I believe it was the Vietnamese Roundtable?
Vietnamese American Roundtable and Latina Coalition of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. So it was a pretty expansive effort to engage residents nearby.
well, it's no surprise most people don't advocate for high density, do they?
No,
yeah.
I don't think it is.
Well,
Hey.
it makes sense considering they only grew up around extremely low density.
Yeah.
Carlin, did you want to jump in?
Yeah.
I attended a bunch of those meetings, and you know, the YIMBYs or the NIMBYs were really hot and forced there. I can I can certainly see that along the existing neighborhood on Vista Verde Drive and so forth, that they can put single family housing there. But I think the interior spaces on that site um, should really be something a little higher density than what they're doing. I don't understand what this two-story Paseo Court is, but you know, I think they should be using that for much higher density housing. You know, the site's 1210 and in particular.
Yeah, something that's coming up in the pipeline that we're paying attention to is the city of San Jose will be doing a report on the financialization of land use at this site to see what density is make or break for the city's coffers in this case.
Yeah,
So we'll be paying attention to that and seeing what number they derive as being ideal for this project.
And Jake, on the Flint Crest Drive side of the property, are those just like open space lots there? What's on the very edge?
Um, Great question, because those are in that is in the yellow shading color here as site 14, so it should be single
Ah,
family dwelling units. It's just not
mhm.
graphically shown the shape of those units there, but it is
Oh, got it.
51 two-story single family dwellings.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah, well, I can see why they put single family around the edges there, and it kind of makes some sense. But I agree with Carlin about those interior lots could be perhaps higher density on 10 and 12 certainly than what they're currently demonstrated for.
Mhm.
One of the things I've suggested to the developer, and maybe we can have a discussion today about doing some redesigning ourselves. So we know we've got some community opposition that lives near the project, as we often face. Meanwhile, many advocates, I assume like many of our members here in the room, want to see greater densities. So what I've suggested to the developer, and I would love it if we could take an official position on this if folks agree, is creating a green belt around the exterior of the site, like they've done on that one, is it western edge, I think,
Mhm.
Jake? Um,
Yeah, on the screen here, they have the linear park along the edge here.
Yeah.
yeah. And so my suggestion is, and Jake, yeah, if you could screen share that.
Oh, is it not sharing that?
No.
Darn, I have been gesturing to my screen this whole time.
Well, I can see it. Thought I saw it.
Oh,
yeah. Uh, I would really like to see more densification of all of those interior sites instead of
yeah.
a 4 or 5 story. Instead of 4 stories, go 5 stories on the flats in town. The four 4 story stacked. What is it? 4 story stacked flats and townhomes. Uh, you know, it seems to me that they could stack that a little higher and get some more density in there. And
Yep.
the um,
Alex, were you suggesting along the lines of taking that linear park and if kind of questioning if you could do more of that on the other
Yeah.
low
Yeah.
density edges
So
or and
yeah.
then like eliminate more of those single family homes and add in more high density there?
Yeah, so what I would suggest is the parkland be concentrated on the exterior. Not
Yeah.
only would it create a buffer between the density, it would also maximize a community benefit for the residents to have a green belt, the existing residents to have a green belt that would buffer them from density, but also something that they could use to bike or run around or walk. That would entail probably eliminating those two park sites in the middle, and concentrating the park on the exterior and put the density in the interior of the site, with multi-story buildings, potentially in the 10s to 20s type stories,
Mhm.
to get some real density on that site. Um,
Is that
and
how high can we go there? Is it open on the site?
How high can we go there currently?
Yeah.
It would be depending on the uh, designation that they get from the city. So they are applying for that mixed use commercial. And I'm
Uh,
not sure what that height would be here at this site. So there's two different um, land use designations.
if I can add one thing, I don't think we should be shrinking the two parks at all. Because currently that general area, including the neighborhood, is lacking in open spaces. So in a way, these two parks are satisfying that open space need.
I agree with that. And I think the development would be kind of a bad one without those interior open spaces to break it up. But it doesn't mean that we can't go higher density on where we are developing. And it also, it does, I think it's still a valid question of reducing some of that single family housing and doing a perimeter, a narrow park. Narrow parks are not as useful as those other two spaces, but it could be a nice, loop for walking or running, as you said. And it's visual, to the people around it as well. So it's still worth exploring.
uh,
So yeah, I like to ask a question. Yeah, between 4C and 4A, they're just to the right of that one street. Is that a pedestrian connection between Vista Verde? No, yeah,
Uh,
up there, right
Up
there.
here,
Yeah, either there or between versus 4C and 4A.
there,
Just to the left of the Vista.
yes, these like street segments, can't really see them here, but they did mention that they were trying to integrate the houses here and the sort of street network with the existing community. Um,
Right. Also, in other places where something like that has occurred, yeah, the residents have in other areas. I forget what example it is, but it's by school. But the residents illegally put up a fence and a gate and lock that gate. Is there a way to prevent that from happening?
I assume there is a way to prevent that from happening, and um, I believe that would probably be on the city, depending on the ownership of the streets specifically. I imagine they would be city streets, but I am not sure.
what if,
Um,
Casey, oh, Sandana, were you going to jump in?
yeah, what is there like transportation demand for like program for this? Like, will they like offer like more bike lanes like around like the trail areas and more like bus passes or like along Tully and White Road?
These are all great things and probably things that we should suggest because they have not submitted and there's no anywhere a current map of that transportation demand management plan.
I do know with other projects, the developer is required to improve the existing streets in the in the project kind of zone. So so that would include South White until that Flynn Road and also Story until Vista Verde. I mean Tully until Vista Verde.
Yeah, as part of the sort of TDM menu that San Jose has adopted, the developer has to basically earn a certain amount of points um, on that menu. And there's many options developers can pick from to earn those points that they need. So those can be improvements to the roads, as Kyle was saying, different types of bicycle infrastructure improvements, bike storage, bike racks, transit passes, obviously, and any number of things. So those are all things that are still unclear at this time as to how the developer will be working with San Jose to meet those requirements.
Can the developer also work with VTA to adjust the bus routes and actually add like bus stops that are right adjacent with the project? Because there's none directly like on any of those blocks that the property is adjacent to. It appears to me anyway. Is that something they normally would be able to do?
For most projects, that is not something that I am familiar with. I think you would have to have a project with a pretty high, a pretty big footprint in terms of the amount of households and people you're going to be bringing in to the area to breach that negotiation with VTA. But I also don't know what their policy on that might look like. One thing that is worth noting is that can't see it on this map here, but I think they have a picture of the project site here. Can't really see it on this map either, but VTA's light rail, the orange line, they're currently working on a construction project to extend that and bring that further down south along this East Capitol Expressway, and it will end at the East Ridge Mall's Transit Plaza right here will be that station. So a light rail station will be coming to right around that intersection of East Capitol Expressway and Tully Road down there in the left.
Okay. What did you say was the timeline for that?
I don't know what the timeline on those dates of construction are. It's being constructed right now, so I don't know when it is supposed to be completed off the top of my head. I think it might be 28. I don't know. Speculate though. I can look that up.
Just looking at that overall site from urban planning standpoint, that plot 5 or whatever they call it is being wasted on 3-story townhouses or whatever they're doing there. That should really be a very high density area, preferably a high rise.
And I have a feeling there are folks who will agree with you. And the orange, the extension there is supposed to projected to be complete in the summer of 2026. So probably long before this project breaks ground.
Cynthia, we've got a Cynthia on the line. I don't think I know you, but I wanted to offer if you wanted to ask any questions or anything. Nothing from Cynthia. Okay, Chris, any questions you wanted to ask or comments?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something. I usually want to have a question, but so is this going to be all done by one developer? Because obviously it's a huge range of, housing types. So just be interesting if it's all done by the same contractor.
The developer is Terrascape Ventures, and from what I've seen, this type of project, like a mix of townhomes, single family homes, is something that is familiar to them. It's in their wheelhouse. I suppose they could partner with a nonprofit affordable builder if they choose to do so for an affordable component.
So
But
it's
it
just,
seems like it's just them as far as I'm aware right now. For
so it's
the
just, okay, so it's just single family and townhomes. It's not like, traditional two-bed apartment types.
there's two mixed use like multifamily apartment structures that's on the map here, like three on the map here, these purple buildings. I don't have a unit breakdown of those, if they're studios, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, whatever. I don't know that at this time.
Okay, and also the parks, those are public, right? Or just,
Yes. Yes.
so public?
Those are
Okay,
those
all
will
right,
be public parks,
that's
yeah.
good. That's good, yeah.
So Jake, are the multifamily housing only in that number 3 area?
Uh, It's what I've been labeling as the multifamily housing, that mixed use, because the other housing products they call townhomes and single family dwellings. So I've been referring to that as the mixed use, yeah, multifamily housing. Those will be your they have these slides in like what that will look like. It's this sort of building is what they intend for that site, for that portion of the site.
I wonder if they could do more multifamily housing like on that lot 5 or other just higher density on those interior lots. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of opportunity to do to more density and still keep it, appealing to the neighborhood from around the perimeter.
Yeah, that's definitely certainly a possibility. And if no one has any questions that are on the top of their head right now, then maybe we can take it off alive and go into that more nitty-gritty discussion about what we would like to see from the site and suggestions we might have. If you're good with that, Alex.
Yeah, happy to. For those who heard the presentation, thanks, Jake, for sharing more about Pleasant Hills, and hopefully we'll get the developer to re-engage with us